In late March, I got the dip every investor says they are waiting for. The only problem was I did not have fresh cash when it happened. My March salary was already invested, and the one for next month arrived only around 15th of April. By then, the market had already bounced hard from the lows. And that is the frustrating part because on paper, my 300k plan looks very simple. Invest consistently, stay patient, and let time do the work. But in the real account, I'm behind. I wanted to be closer to 15k invested by now, and I'm at 10. So there is already a 5k gap. Not because I panic sold, not because I made one terrible investment, but because normal life got in the way. Family expenses, vacation deposits, weekends out, and cash arriving later than expected. In this update, I want to answer three things: where the 10k actually went and where I invested, why I'm behind the plan, and what I'm changing so I can try to catch up by June. Because this is not just about the portfolio, it is whether the system works when real life gets messy. Right now, I have around 10k invested and 2k in cash on top. The 300k long-term goal, which I already mentioned, and my June target is around 20 to 22k invested. Most of this is split across Interactive Brokers and eToro, the two platforms I currently use for my portfolios. Numbers are simple. Harder question is whether the system is strong enough, because anyone can build a plan in the spreadsheet. The hard part is following it when expenses rise, cash arrives late, and the market does not wait for your salary. This is the first takeaway. Being behind does not always mean the plan failed. Sometimes it means the system needs adjusting. So, my portfolio is built around a simple 80-20 idea. 80% should be the core foundation, and 20% is the higher upside picks. The core is what carries the plan, the backbone. The moonshot bucket is allowed to help, but it cannot become the plan. And that distinction matters even more when I'm behind, because if I start using moonshots to close the gap faster, I'm no longer following the system. I'm reacting to pressure. My foundation is broad ETFs, one tied to S&P 500 and the other giving me global exposure. That is the boring part. Broad, long-term, and reliable. And that is exactly why it belongs at the center. And then around the core, I have the 20% bucket. This is where I take selected higher upside positions. And those sectors I'm looking at is AI infrastructure, healthcare, strategic resource, quantum computing, and energy. AI infrastructure includes companies like Microsoft, Broadcom, and Taiwan Semiconductors that I added during this year. Healthcare includes Pacific Biosciences and Intuitive Surgical. Strategic includes MP Materials, and energy, ENI. Quantum, IonQ, and D-Wave Quantum. These are the positions that I added year to date. The takeaway is simple. The 80% core is designed to build a 300k plan. The 20% moonshot bucket is designed to add upside. The part that annoyed me most was not the market, it was the timing. I was not afraid to invest during the dip. I had already invested. My March salary was in the market, and then the dip came. The April salary arrived only after the rebound, so I did not miss most of the dip because I was scared. I missed most of it because the cash arrived too late. That sounds like a small detail, but it exposed the real weakness. A monthly investing system can look disciplined, but it still depends on timing. If salary comes before the dip, great. If salary comes after the dip, you watch the opportunity disappear. Salary has a date. Bills have a date. Markets do not care about either. That is the part most people miss. Sometimes the issue is not conviction. Sometimes it is cash timing. So I do not want this plan to depend on catching the bottom. Catching the bottom is not my strategy, it is luck. The better question for me is, how do I reduce the damage of bad timing? And there is another risk of being behind. And this can become dangerous because in 4 months I already built 5k gap. And I can start thinking maybe I should take a bigger move. I should buy something with more upside chance. Maybe I should take more risk to close the gap faster. But that is exactly how discipline turns into chasing. And I do not want to do that because the problem is not that the portfolio needs more excitement. The problem is that my execution was not consistent enough. Cash sat there for too long. Expenses pulled money away, and the market moved before I had fresh cash. If I respond by buying riskier stocks, I'm not fixing the system. I'm reacting to the feeling of being behind. That is the line I do not want to cross. The goal is not just to catch up. The goal is to catch up without breaking the plan. Here is what I change. Instead of investing only once per month, I'm splitting my monthly investing amount into 4 parts. One part for each week. If I know how much I can invest that month, I divide it by 4. Then every Monday, I have a smaller amount ready to invest. It gives me 4 chances each month to put money to work. Not one big decision, 4 smaller decisions. And that matters because it lowers the pressure. I do not need to find the perfect day. I do not need to guess the button. I just need to keep the money moving. Core comes first. The S&P 500 and the global ETFs. Then, if there is room, I can look at the 20% bucket and the areas and sectors that I'm thinking have much higher upside potential. Catching up for me does not mean taking more risk. It means becoming more consistent. So the system is simple. Divide the monthly investing amount by 4. Invest weekly, prioritize the core, keep speculative positions limited, and track whether cash is shrinking or just sitting there. During May and June, I'm going to test this system, and it should tell me something useful. Either it helps me move closer to 20K, or it proves that cash is still controlling the plan more than I want. To get there, I need to do 4 things. Close part of the 5K gap, invest some of the 2K cash that I created, and keep adding new savings. Avoid trying to catch up too fast. The last one matters most because when you feel behind, speed feels responsibility, but speed can become risk, and risk can become a new problem, which I don't want. Let me recap and provide few takeaways. 80% core still has to carry the plan. S&P 500 ETF and global ETF. That's my strategy, the broad and boring part. Second, cash timing matters more than I expected. I did not miss the dip because I was scared. I missed the most of it because the cash arrived late. And third, catching up cannot mean chasing. So the new system is simple. Split the monthly investing amount into 4 parts. Invest weekly. Prioritize the core and keep 20% moonshot bucket small. That is the test for May and June. Right now, I'm around 10K invested with 2K in cash, behind the original pace. And I'm aiming for 20K invested by June. I'm not behind forever, I hope. I just need a better system. Next month, I'll show whether this weekly allocation system helped or whether I'm still letting cash sit there for too long. This is the real 300K journey. It's not just theory, it's not just spreadsheet and Excel. The actual decisions that I'm making. I'll keep posting new Quiet Wealth video every Monday and Thursday to document my journey. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.